Welcome back to the channel. My name is Ryan, and in this video, we're going to be going through what I've learned from auditing over 1,000 e-commerce brands. With some of these mistakes, we can be using them as an advantage, showing us how we can improve our own marketing and ultimately generate some more revenue with fixing these mistakes. So this document will be in the description below. Feel free to use this, but in this video, we're going through a few examples and actually showing you into some brands which you've audited and noticed a few mistakes. So with that being said, you can also book yourself a free audit, whether that be for your e-commerce brand as well, or you're just interested to learn how we actually audit things. So without further ado, next page is me just going through a bit by myself and our website link there. So starting off with one of the major things we notice is your emails are so boring. People are not even engaging, not going to be clicking it, and probably going to be unsubscribing. And this doesn't necessarily mean your designs need to be crazy good, because I feel like that's quite an obvious one. It's more about the fresh angles and the content you're actually including here. So if you just send in promotions, sales, your products, although this does work for some brands, especially, high street brands, if you're running your own e-commerce brand, people do have a lot of things which could potentially be putting off your product, whether that being they don't trust you as a brand, they don't trust the product, or they generally just don't even know what your product's about. So all these fresh angles that are hitting things which, are affecting people on their day-to-day, kind of how they can imagine themselves using your product, other than just sending them quick repeat images that they're going to be seeing over and over again. Also, storytelling and objection handling, which is kind of what I mentioned, they're just plain and simple, boring boring emails. So I've actually got a spare email account I use to subscribe to brands we audit, brands we just send outreach to, things like this. And I'm going to be going through a few emails and showing you kind of, although the designs are good, how they're not actually functioning very well in terms of getting good email results. So starting off with this brand here, the email itself is designed super well, but as we can see, this is a welcome flow email. So as you can see, let's get messy. Here's 10% off for your first order. Subject line and preview text isn't the best. You really want to have something that stands out more in your inbox. I've mentioned in the welcome flow video that the subject line really needs to include something that stands out, something that people are actually going to see in their inbox if they come back to it in 2, 3, 4, 5 hours, whatever it may be. So jumping in, we have to imagine this is probably what people see at the first fold of their mobile phone. As you can see, there's no call to action button, no mention of a discount code, nothing whatsoever. So although we know we're giving away 10%, they're literally hiding it and burying it in the email. You're having to scroll down a little bit, although it's not too far down in the email. Something like this should really be a lot higher up with, instead of saying, let's get messy, it should be, welcome, here's 10% off, shop now. Really, we just want to make everything as easy as it is for people to just get through to your website. Another example of emails that we see is these kind of text-based emails. Although there's nothing bad with text-based emails, I actually really do like them, and we're going to go through that in a minute. Something like this, especially for the welcome flow, it's not really showing off your brand. Kind of like the quality and things like that, it's just very poorly put together. There's images that aren't linked to anything. There's no call to action buttons here. So we can see they're giving away 15% off, but there's no call to action button. It's all the way down at the bottom here, along with all the products as well. So emails like this, the functionality is not really there, and people are going to be struggling clicking through. Similar thing to this one as well. So we have 15% advertised here, and we've got to scroll all the way down to get the shop now button again. Although they do have these headers here, I've actually noticed poor results when having these headers, because email usually has some form of objective or some narrative that it's pushing. So in this case, we're pushing 15% off. When they start clicking these links here, it's easy to get sidetracked. Whereas by clicking this, it should automatically apply the 15% off. So we've covered all basis on that one. A good example of emails exactly like this. Beauty stat, 20% off, welcome, shop now. Literally plain and simple, showing the product off. What about it? Shop now, shop now, shop now, shop now. There is so many chances for someone to click shop now. They're showing so many products. They're showing the problems. They're showing the fixes. Everything in this email is really well designed, and it's just effective for the customer. They know how to click it. They know how to get onto your website. This one here as well, clearly highlighting the sale up to 70% off. Shop sale button right there. Scrolling down again, a little bit more information. Shop the women's, shop the men's, and then scrolling down again, more information. So these emails are really well put together. These are just a few that I've just picked out. Health is probably one of my favorite brands when it comes to email marketing. They've got really good storytelling, really good information, and generally it doesn't even feel like they're selling to you. So if we look through there's some of their past campaigns, we can see they do Health Tuesdays and Health Wednesdays. Generally, it's just like information around products, around like vitamins, things which are going to bring benefit into your life. So here we can see this one's about sleep, this one's about erections. And generally, when you look over the whole marketing scheme, it's just very enticing. They have really clear call to actions as well. So we can see this one is the Black Friday flash sale, so up to 40% off, clear call to action button, and then they've got products which are on sale. So really this email is super simple, and this is really how your email should look like. They're really good as well with doing text-based emails. This is something not a lot of brands actually take the time to do. There's such a great pattern interrupt, but that's still going to be something we go through in a short minute. If you want to check these out, I will leave the links to them in this document, so you can just check out Health. I really would recommend using them as some sort of like guide. And second of all is traffic. So a lot of people, they try to overcomplicate emails when they don't even have enough traffic coming onto their site. They're not collecting enough emails. They're not getting enough signups. So the data they're actually getting doesn't really provide you much. You know, if you're doing tests that are only getting 250 people going through these tests on each side, so 500 people, it's not really a big enough pool to actually get some conclusive data. So all these tests you're actually doing aren't really relevant. So you should really just be focusing on bringing more people in. So we can do that in an email aspect of getting more signups. That way we get better data, meaning more revenue. This isn't necessarily just focused around testing as well. It is actually focused around getting more signups to then see campaigns, and then people get entered into your automated flows. So if people aren't in our mailing list, then they're not going to receive like abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, even win back. So all these high converting flows, they're not going to be seeing. So really we need to optimize our pop-up form. The main thing I find with pop-up forms is people generally use the exact same template across the board. Near enough every single brand is using the same template. Every single brand is using the exact same template. And not necessarily it's a bad thing, but it's just generally boring. People just are expecting to see it now. So sign-up rates haven't took a dip. As an agency, we have actually put a video on how to increase your signups, but we're using things like mini quizzes to make their experience feel a little bit more personalized and custom. Another thing as well is we like to give away free value. So this doesn't necessarily mean like a 15% off discount, especially for brands like supplement brands or something that's actually going to bring you a benefit. You can give away like free guides like how to get clearer skin, things like this, and they can have a perceived value of whatever amount, but then it's just a nice little touch, which we've noticed actually helping us with our signups. As I mentioned earlier, text-based emails, a lot of brands aren't utilizing these, and they're actually really good in terms of keeping your deliverability good and also engaging your audience. So it's a great pattern interrupt. People are expecting to click on, like, say for example, Health. They're expecting to click on an email that's got some crazy designs. It's going to be pushing some promotion. But when they click on it and it shows you something like this, it kind of like breaks up your expectation and it does make you interested. A lot of people do end up start reading these, and as an agency, the performance we've seen from using emails like this have been crazy, if not better than the image-based emails at times. And half the time, they literally just have a small call to action button like this, a hyperlinked bit of text telling you to go and shop whatever it is. So something like this is really good. It feels personal. It encourages replies as well, because it does feel like it's actually coming from the founder, the head of marketing, whatever it is. And you can address it as it's from the founder. So let's say, for example, your founder's name is John. You could address it from John saying whatever you want to say. These emails, again, how it comes up as the name of the email stands out a lot more when it's saying John from Gymshark, whatever it may be. Next thing that I find really common with brands is overcomplicating your automations. So this could be in any of your flows. Let's take abandoned cart, for example. They are running multiple split tests. They're running multiple conditional splits. This, in my opinion, is a way of just smoke and mirrors to make people feel like they've justified their job. Especially I find that if brands are using agencies, they tend to try and overcomplicate things, making it look like there's so much work going on, when in reality, the simpler your flows are, the more targeted that you are on just providing good content, good offers, you're going to be succeeding a lot more than providing all these unconditional splits. Again, this kind of goes back to what I was saying earlier. The splits you're doing, you're not really getting any conclusive data because not enough people are going to be entered into it. Unless you have got crazy big lists, then potentially you could start seeing better data. But then obviously that's something you'd actually put into use if you're seeing whatever people are actually getting entered into these conditions. Leading on from the automated flows, segmentation is another thing people overcomplicate. Really, we just want to be focused on our engaged audience, whether that be in your last engaged 30, 60, 180, whatever you want to target, whatever is going to be good for your deliverability. Focus on this and send into 100,000 people over sending, a hyper segmented email to 20,000 people. You're going to be 10x in your performance by sending to 100,000 people as to 20,000. The reason why people do overcomplicate things on segmentation, because it does sound good, it sounds pretty. No one really cares when their birthday is, although sending a birthday flow is good. when it comes to your campaigns, really, this isn't going to make a difference, especially with all these pop-up forms nowadays. You can have like all these mini quizzes. Although they're good for getting your signups, in my opinion, I actually don't use a segmentation because, again, you're just not targeting big enough pools. You would definitely have a lot more success targeting 100,000 people, especially if you are constantly using fresh new angles, fresh new approaches. At some point, you're eventually going to target someone that's going to be interested in it. And again, it just works like a nice cycle that at some point someone's going to find something valuable that you're sending. If they don't find anything valuable, then they're obviously not going to purchase in the first place, so they're going to end up unsubscribing at some point anyway. So really, we just want to be targeting 100,000 people, or the most people we can. When I say this 100,000 people, this doesn't mean blow up your whole list. I still mean use engaged segments. Just don't super segment things, as yeah, it's just smoke and mirrors. Last thing that I noticed when auditing accounts, so I'm going to use health as an example as well. We can see the frequency that they're sending emails. So the 12th of November, 13th, 15th, 16th, 17th is almost every day. They have the odd day where they have a cooldown period, but they're sending so frequently because all their ideas are fresh. And as well, for me as a customer, I can actually relate to this because they're always on my mind when it comes to emails. I always kind of know around about 8 o'clock at night, I'm going to get an email from health. It's going to be some email that I'm probably going to read about some way of improving my sleep, focus, concentration. It's already in the back of my mind, and it's something that I'm actually, wouldn't say looking forward to, but when I see the notification at 8 o'clock at night, I know it's going to be something from health. So it's almost programming something in the back of people's minds. If you're sending an email once a month, you're literally going to be fading into the depths of someone's inbox, probably never going to get opened, and you're not going to be seeing much success. The more touch points you actually see with your audience, so we want to be sending like 3 to 5 campaigns a week. As we can see, health is probably sending, they're probably sending 5 to 6 emails a week, depending on what their cooldown period is. For most brands, 3 emails a week for your campaigns is generally enough. Splitting it between Monday, Wednesday, Friday is generally good. Sometimes I have found sending on weekends generally has actually brought lower results. You would think it would bring higher, but because people's days are so sporadic, you don't actually know what they're going to be doing, and you can't guarantee the masses of your audience are going to be free like throughout the day. So these emails can get easily buried in people's inboxes. With that being said, I don't want to bore you to death for too much longer. It has just been a talking video. I have gone through a few things which will benefit you. So I'm going to leave the link to health as well below. And if you and your brand are looking for someone to handle your emails, feel free to book an audit, and then we can go through all these points we mentioned, giving you a marketing plan, highlighting the areas which are your downfalls, and obviously how we'd resolve these. So thank you for getting to the end of the video. Feel free to drop a subscribe, like the video, comment, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching.